Hey guys, so we're continuing on with part two of our components of fitness and our fitness testing. So in this video, we're going to be focusing on muscular endurance, power, strength, agility, balance, coordination, reaction time, and speed. Muscular endurance, which is similar to dynamic strength. This is the ability of a muscle or muscle group to undergo repeated contractions, avoiding fatigue. So a good test for this is the sit-up bleep test. So what you do is you play a CD which plays bleeps. On each bleep, you should perform a sit-up. You must use the correct technique, and the test length is 5 minutes. It can be hard to decide if the correct technique was used for every sit-up, so this may impact the reliability of the test. The overall result is the number of sit-ups performed. Then we have power and explosive strength, or power or explosive strength, which is anaerobic power. So this is the product of strength and speed, i.e. strength times speed. So a way we can test this is the vertical jump, which is measured in centimeters. Stand next to a wall and mark the highest point you can reach with your hand using chalk. Bend your knees, jump as high as you can, and mark the wall at the top of your jump. Measure distance between the two marks. It can be hard to mark the highest point of the jump, so this again can impact the reliability. So in terms of strength is the ability to overcome resistance. There are three different types of strength. We have explosive strength, which is speed times strength, which is the same definition as power. We have dynamic strength, which is the ability of a muscle or muscle group to undergo repeated contractions, avoiding fatigue. So that's what we looked at before. And we also have static strength. Static ability to hold a body part or limb in a static position. Muscle length stays the same. Maximum force that can be applied to an immovable object. So a good test for this is the hand grip dynamometer test. Hold the dynamometer in the hand to be tested, with the arm at right angles and the elbow by the side of the body. The handle of the dynamometer is adjusted if required. When ready, the subject squeezes the dynamometer with maximum isometric effort, which is maintained for about 5 seconds. No other body movement is allowed. So the need to recalibrate the grip after each use changes the reliability. So you have to recalibrate each time so that there's reliable data. And then we have our normative data tables. So if we're looking at males, an excellent reading would be over 64 kg. For females, it would be over 38 kg. So now we're going to have a look at an exam question. So this is a 3-mark question. So we're looking to explain 3 ways in which an increase in explosive strength may improve Zoe's performance in football. Now the key command word there is so we can't just state, we need to explain it. And we also need to make sure that it is relevant to football. So we need to have some knowledge of football, of course. So let's have a look at some potential answers there. So, as I said, explain 3 ways. So to get the marks, you just need to explain 3 different points. So some examples we may have include enabling her to sprint faster, to beat a defender, to set up a goal scoring opportunity or equivalent, enable her to jump higher to win a header or equivalent, or enable her to kick the ball harder, so less chance of an interception or an equivalent. So there are other suitable responses to that as well, but these are just 3 of the ones that we've picked out. The next component of fitness we're looking at is agility. Now, agility is the ability to move and change direction quickly whilst at speed, whilst also maintaining control. So the best fitness test for agility is called the Illinois Agility Test. You can see on the left-hand side that we have a diagram of what this would look like. So you would start at this point here, run around the first cone at 10 meters, run back around, and then each 3.5 meters you have figure of 8s to follow. There's 4 figure of 8s up and then back down as well. Loop around, come back up another 10 meters, quick change of direction, and then back down to the finish another 10 meters. So the way you would start that is by lying face down on the floor. On the whistle, you complete that course as fast as you can. Now, in terms of reliability, this must be done in the correct order, and when setting up, it must be correctly measured. So we need to make sure that it's reliable in that way. The way we measure this test is in seconds. Then we have balance. Balance is the maintenance of the center of mass over the base of support. Reference can be made to while static or still, or dynamic whilst moving. So a good test that we can use for balance is the standing stalk test. So we need to place our hands on our hips. We then lift the right leg and place the sole of our right foot against the side of the left kneecap. On go, start the stopwatch and the athlete raises the heel of the left foot to stand on their toes. The athlete is to hold this position for as long as possible. And then you repeat that with the other foot. And this is measured in seconds. So in terms of reliability, we need to ensure that all participants lift their heels off the floor, and obviously need to keep it off the floor as well. Now, we have an exam question here. So justify why balance is an important component of fitness to a netball or basketball player. So this is a 4-mark question. So to break down the marks, we want to give you 1 mark for telling me what balance is, and then 3 marks for examples of balance for one of the 2 named sports. So you can pick either netball or basketball. So the way we would break this down, so we would look at the AO2 for 1 mark, where we say required to keep a stable posture to ensure that control of the body is maintained. And then we would look to give you the other 3 marks, again, based on the specific sporting example. So examples could be, when marking, good balance could prevent contacting or obstructing the opposition. Stable position to avoid committing a foul due to incorrect footwork or traveling. When shooting, good balance would allow the shot to be more accurate and more likely to score. In pivoting or passing off one foot, footwork and passes would be more accurate. When transferring weight to either defend, dribble, or get into a better position. When jumping to receive the ball or rebounding, balance would be important when landing so that you do not fall over. Again, any other suitable justification would work well in that response. Then we have coordination. So coordination is the ability to use different body parts of the body together smoothly and efficiently. So two or more body parts. So a good example of a fitness test for this is the wall toss test. So what you need to do is stand 2 meters away from the wall. The ball is thrown from the right hand in an underarm action against the wall. It is then caught with the left hand. You then repeat above with the opposite hands, and you complete the test for 30 seconds. So in terms of reliability, you must make sure that you are 2 meters away from that wall. And the way we measure the results is by the number of catches. Another exam question. Navina regularly participates in hockey matches for her school and local club. She requires good coordination to compete successfully. What is coordination for 1 mark? And why is it important for a hockey player to have coordination for another mark? So, when we have a look at that first question, it's simply just stating what coordination is. So coordination is the ability to use different 2 or more body parts together smoothly and efficiently. And that would get you 1 mark. The next question, why is it important for a hockey player to have good coordination? So again, only 1 marker, so you just need to state one fact. So it could be to use hands and eyes to save a shot from an opposition player. The next we have is reaction time. So reaction time is the time taken to initiate a response to a stimulus. So the ruler drop test is a really good indication of this. So the ruler is held by an assistant between the outstretched index finger and thumb of the athlete's dominant hand, and it needs to be at 0 centimeters. The athlete will catch the ruler as soon as possible after it is released. The assistant will then record the distance between the bottom of the ruler and the top of the athlete's hand. And this is measured in centimeters. Speed, another component, speed. So speed is the maximum rate at which an individual is able to perform a movement or cover a distance in a period of time. So they're putting the body parts into action as quickly as possible, and this is calculated by distance divided by time. So another equation that you'll need to remember. So the way we look at this is, or test this, is the 30-meter sprint test. So we start from a stationary position with 1 foot in front of the other behind the line. On the whistle, you sprint as fast as you can. The second 30-meter is timed. Okay, so there's a risk of human error when using a stopwatch. So this is something to keep in mind when it comes to reliability. So in terms of data, we have 2 different types of data when it comes to fitness testing. So we have quantitative data and we have qualitative data. So quantitative data deals with numbers. So methods for collecting quantitative data include questionnaires and surveys. Quantitative data collecting during fitness tests can be compared to national averages. Then we have our qualitative data. So methods for collecting this type of data may include interviews or observations. So exam question for you of collecting qualitative data. So we have interviews and observations, interviews and surveys, observations and surveys, or questionnaires and surveys. So if we go back and have a look at what that data is, so we would be looking at methods of collecting qualitative data, which includes interviews and observations. So our answer is going to be A, interviews and observations. So a quick summary of what we looked at in today's session. So we looked at agility and as the component of fitness and the test of that being the Illinois Agility Run. We had a look at balance and the standing stalk tests. We looked at coordination and the wall toss tests. We looked at speed and the 30-meter sprint test. And then we looked at quantitative data and qualitative data. All of these are really vital when it comes to collecting data and testing those components of fitness.